Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to episode 87 of Planned Brotherhood. A couple of things before we get started with today's episode. When we recorded this, we were simultaneously taking care of PJ's 2-year-old daughter, so that explains any precociousness you might hear in the background. There have also been some new developments regarding what's discussed. I don't want to spoil it, so we'll post that at a later time. And finally, we wanted to mention that we are going to attempt our first live show here coming up on Saturday. That's this coming Saturday, March 6th at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've decided to break away from our comfort zone a little bit and do a live show via the internet for you guys in real time. We're looking forward to it. We're going to be doing it from a mansion, of all places, which is not a joke, and we'll explain, I'm sure, as the night goes on. We've arranged a series of rotating guests for the occasion, both old favorites and new faces, and it would really mean a lot to us if you guys could make an appearance. And again, that's Saturday, March 6th, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll probably go for a couple of hours. Details on where to find us online and how to interact with us will be forthcoming. Anybody that is not yet a Facebook fan, we would suggest that you do that. Just type Planned Brotherhood into the search engine, or however that works. Also Twitter, if you don't follow us, twitter.com/PlannedBrohood. Otherwise, myspace.com/PlannedBrotherhood. I suppose we'll put some information there too. But there will be links coming up throughout the week. If you have any questions that you want to contact us directly about, our email address has changed. brotherofallpodcast, that's plural, @gmail.com. And I guess that's it. We look forward to interacting with you fine people. Enjoy the show.
Hello, you've reached Planned Parenthood, proudly serving trollops nationwide since 1916. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. If you are having itching or burning in your nether region, press 1. If you need us to kill a baby for you, press 2. If you need birth control so that you can slut it up, press 3. Si eres una puta que habla en español, marque 5. If you're calling for the hilarious podcast Planned Brotherhood, you've reached the wrong number, as Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Incorporated. Thank you for calling. Have a dead baby of a day.
Do you think I could really work with Dad? Do you think I could handle that? We wouldn't be in the same department.
What does that mean, not in the same department? Are you going to be like a manual laborer? Because I think that alone you can't handle.
Apparently the position calls for, it's a shipping position, and I don't know what that means. Hopefully a valid license is not required.
Yeah, I would hope not. It's probably like...
Because Dad doesn't know that about my history, I don't think.
He doesn't... Well, he knows that you don't drive.
Yeah, but I think he just assumes it's because I live in Seattle and I have no use for a car, which is part of the reason.
Yeah,
but also
he's been in the car with you when you've like ridiculously hit other cars in a parking lot.
And as an adult.
He's not going to, expect you to drive like a work truck or anything like that.
I should hope not. I don't know what's going to be expected of me at this job.
Sophie, no. Sorry. She's spraying in the water.
There's going to be a lot of Sophie no's today.
Water bottle spraying on the TV. Didn't you say that that driving with Dad was the time as an adult that like he freaked out on you and you saw a little bit of the old Dad?
Yeah.
Did you talk about that on the show?
I don't know. Just as a quick recap, though, it was when I bought that car from Simon, and it was like $200, and I had to learn to drive stick manual, which I was not familiar with. So Dad decided that he was going to teach me on his days with Melissa, and we were in some parking lot, and I totally took out this parked car, just the back of it. I smashed up the back tail light real good or something. I don't know. But yeah, in that moment, because Dad's trying to teach me, and he's just giving me the most basic of things. But It should have been an empty parking lot.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, for one split second, old dad came out. God damn it! And then he was gone again. He's like, no, son, it's okay, it's okay. But God, it scared me for a minute. And I was
Really?
like 20. I was in my late 20s.
Scared you for a
mid
second?
20s. Come on.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's like all the dreams I have where I'm yelling at him now.
You still have those.
Oh yeah, big time.
Can we talk about how you're going to go to therapy now?
I'm probably not going to go to therapy.
It's funny because you have the option to go to therapy, right? Your wife's insurance is going to cover it.
Yeah, I'm getting insurance.
Because you've been talking about forever here on this very show about how you need therapy, how you think it'd be exciting.
Yeah, but it would probably just be really embarrassing and awkward for me to sit there and...
Yeah, but they'd be able to analyze why that is.
Yeah, but who knows if you actually get a good doctor.
Especially here in
mean?
Yakima,
What
yeah.
if you just get a fucking joke? It's going to ruin everything for me.
But you'd be able to pick up on that pretty fast. They're going to blame everything on your attitude, though, if it doesn't go well.
Possibly. But see, that's the... I don't know how therapy works. If I wasn't so scared, I'd be very excited to go try it.
I don't know why you're this scared. You need to do it just so you can report back so I know what it's like.
Yeah.
How close to The Sopranos is it actually?
Plus, I'd like to get some medication.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then we'll be able to put names to all these issues that you have and have had.
Yeah, maybe. But like I say, how qualified of a doctor am I expected to get? One that's covered on this insurance and stuff.
I don't know. Isn't it something you can settle on? You can go through until you find one that clicks?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, find out, please.
I might. Why don't you get therapy?
I don't have a wife.
What does that mean?
I mean, you're only going, or you only have the option to go because your wife has awesome insurance. I don't even have a job right now. If I find a job someday where therapy is free for me, then fuck yeah, I'll go.
I thought your last job, you could go to therapy.
Yeah, I could have had acupuncture too. It doesn't mean I'm going to take... I wasn't as fucked up as I am now. That's not true.
Yeah.
Losing that job fucked me up. That's why I need therapy.
Yeah. So what do you think about like the fact that, okay, you've got to find another job pretty soon. Are you gonna, you see yourself going back to like the A&W days?
What? Are you asking if I'm going to get a fast food job at 30?
I'm asking if you refuse to get a fast food job.
At this point, I'd like to say yes. I refuse to get a fast food job. I don't need fucking grease burns when I come home from work at 11:30.
You don't even make enough money to make it worth it.
No, that's why it blows my mind, and nothing against anybody who does it, but I honestly can't understand. Even somebody my age that I see working there, living on their own, I don't know how they can afford to.
Yeah. I don't get it at all. I don't understand how people that work the same job I have buy houses and cars and shit like that.
I don't understand how you can afford to live the way you do either, quite honestly.
What do you mean?
I mean...
You mean because I spend a lot?
Yeah.
But my rent is so cheap.
That's true.
I'm not paying a fucking mortgage or anything like that. And now that we have a car payment every month and that we do car insurance, like, times are a little tight. Like 1 week out of every month, it's a little tight.
Yeah, that's like me on rent week. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hang out with me because I can't pay for anything.
Yeah, that's pretty much me. It's rent week, too. I try to make all my rent in the 3 days that I go to work.
It's kind of exciting, though, the little operation you have set up where you don't know how much money you're going to come home with.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a job like that, but I don't have the experience. I don't want to start now as a busser.
Well, it's not...
Are you proud of me for not saying busboy?
Yeah. It's not super desirable to not know how much money you're going to make. But as long as it's a certain amount, it's more than I would make working at A&W.
Right. No, I'll never go back. I
remember working at A&W and
I take a retail job again over fast food.
I remember working at A&W and getting like the paycheck after 2 weeks, and it's like, you know what, $108 or $210 or something like that. Like after 2 weeks.
My first check ever from A&W at 16 years old was $180, and good God, was that a lot of money to me.
Yeah, and you know, we were living with mom and dad and ridiculously did have to pay a little bit for rent, but whatever. But I mean,
were struggling.
There were 40-year-olds that worked that same job as us, too.
That's true.
It's like, how are you handling
What was
this?
that one chick's name? Susan or whatever?
Yeah.
Our boss's little right-hand man. God, I hated her. And yeah, she had kids in college and stuff, and she was working at A&W.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
How do you make ends meet?
She's probably got a husband who makes a ton of money, and she just does it for the fun of it.
And I remember we had a neighbor. The kid's name was Jason and Michael, and the dad. Like they lived right two houses down from us, and that dad would always be coming home like Subway shirt one week. Remember that guy? He was like a real dirty piece of trash.
Sure.
Subway shirt, McDonald's shirt, Burger King shirt. And I remember him going down to apply at A&W once, and they didn't hire him.
It always amazes me. Oh, that was the other
It's
Nick
like, you're
Cage
my
story.
friend's dad, and we're going to work in the same place?
The other Nick K story that we couldn't think of the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Nick K, probably 17 at the time. We had been working at A&W, established ourselves. We were the cool kids. And we're like, you should just come work here. And he applied and did not get the job.
Yeah.
And what did our boss say to him during the interview?
Said, you know, there's Papa Murphy's opening down by where you
I
live.
thought it was Arby's.
Oh, it might have been at Arby's.
I heard Arby's is
I
hiring.
think Arby's is hiring.
And he could have been more humiliated. Then within 3 months, his parents gave him a job that he still has, and
Yeah.
he's able to buy his WRXs every birthday now that he celebrates.
Our cousin Tim worked at that A&W too after we worked there.
Right, and he did not carry on the Eller's name in a way we would have hoped.
I remember going in there to eat once, and Phyllis, my at this point old boss, like was telling me to tell Tim that he's about to get fired if he doesn't. Well, I mean,
It's a hard thing to do to get fired from A&W. Everybody was stealing money from the till all the time.
but they used to walk up to you at the beginning of every day, check your socks, everything like that, and they'd say, "Do you want to go home early today?" Not necessarily guaranteed that you were, but
that is a question that you got every
it
single
was a
day.
weird question.
Which threw me off on my first day, to be sure. I'm like, they're already trying to get me out of here. I fucked up somehow.
First day, Tim said yes, and every day after that,
Sounds like he has the
from
Uncle
what
Barry
I've heard,
syndrome.
said yes, and I believe did go home the first day. Talked about how
You made a
sick
mess.
he was.
Sorry. What kind of mess? She seems really proud of the mess she made.
Quit indulging her.
Sorry.
He did go home early that very first day about floating bone or some sort of disease or something like that.
Probably heat stroke standing in front of the grill too long.
Yeah, I remember.
No, buddy, I'm busy. I'm sorry.
I remember once Dad freaking out on me because he found out I called in sick to A&W
Really?
to hang out with Chris. Like he was so upset by that.
I keep hearing stories about Dad's great work ethic.
I know. I guess
Just because he hated being at home.
I guess.
But yeah, he's the type of guy that would go in with the flu probably to work. I don't know if he's that way anymore.
Yeah. If you work with Dad, it's gonna be corny ass jokes constantly.
Let me tell you about corny ass jokes, because recently, while I was unemployed here a couple of months ago, he offered for me to come into his work like on a Saturday just to do inventory for a little under the counter cash. And I was happy enough to do it. And Dad is, I can't tell if he was doing it to impress me or to impress his coworkers or what he was doing, or if he's like this all the time.
Let's think about the things he does to impress us. Shows us his Corvette lamp in his room. Shows us
You're not
his
impressed by
12-inch TV.
With the headphone jack, because Debbie wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, so the whole day that I was with him, I didn't work with him. I got teamed up with this old guy, so it wasn't so bad. But every time there was a break or something, or we sat down for lunch and Dad just sits awkwardly at his desk, and so he's just sitting there awkwardly, and there's everybody there is a little younger than him, at least in the department he's in, probably closer to my age, and they're all talking about sports or what the fuck ever. And yeah, Dad just keeps cracking the same dad type jokes, and none of them are, they all give him the pity laugh.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that's him all the time, or was he doing it like to show off for me?
He gets a lot of the pity laugh at that place. No, baby, stop it.
But then
Mom's coming home. Cruising for a bruising.
You talk?
I don't want to talk.
You don't want to talk?
No.
So yeah, you're gonna get lots of corny ass jokes from him. And
Although
then-
one guy did pull me aside at the end of the day and said, "Hey, you're Greg's son, aren't you? That guy's a good worker.
is he
Work ethic, man."
nice? And then also, if you read him this email telling him about what a piece of shit he is, how's that gonna be working with him?
Yeah, I guess the timing of this whole thing isn't great because Mom's in and out of Western State right now. Currently, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And she had her gallbladder removed.
Heard it.
What the fuck is going on? I know you've heard it. I'm filling people in. But yeah, so now's come the time where Dad needs to step up, and our Aunt Lori, who he thinks will be best for our little sister Melissa, refuses. What was her phrasing? As long as he's alive and capable.
She said that Janine's position is that they're too old and too unwilling to take on something like this just to make, while he's still capable,
Right.
just to make his life more convenient.
Right.
Because
And-
that's all it is. He can do it. He just doesn't want to shake things up.
No, and refusing phone calls from everybody. He only communicates through email. His wife still at this point does not know our what's going on with our mom and how close it probably is to him being legally obligated to take her anyway.
Yeah.
God, I hope that happens because fuck him. But yeah, so now he tells me that there's this job opening up, and I have all these feelings about the family stuff, but I still really need a job. And I've met those people, and they're nice enough. I think I could do whatever it is they want me to do. But I've been talking about all week, in fact, since I've been here, I've been saying I'm going to write Dad an email, and I'm going to set him straight, and I'm going to let him know what we all think of him and his actions right now. I still haven't done that. I
While
still
leaving
intend to
me
do
out
that.
of it.
What?
While leaving me out.
Yeah, but you got to help me write it.
Yeah, sure.
And once I do write it and send it off, because I will, PJ, I really know that I will, then we'll read it on the show later.
Yeah.
And his bound to be ridiculous response. But I do this thing every time I see Dad, and I don't want it to be this way if I were to get this job, where we're going to have lunch together, and between his corny jokes, he's going to talk about how he wishes he could do something, and I won't be able to stand up for myself.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen.
And then about how awful Mom is. I love the stories talking about like how we had full dental coverage as kids, but they never took us to the dentist, and now we have awful teeth and stuff. And be like, you lazy bitch mother who would never get off the couch. Meanwhile, that was his permanent position, was the couch. And then he'll go, and I could have done it too, and I could have, but that lazy cunt.
Yeah, it always circles back around. He tops off everything with, oh, yeah, I guess I could have been there for you guys, but your mom.
Yeah, and I think he's under the mistaken impression that because I clearly don't like Mom, that like I'll sit there and just want to like, oh, let's bash Mom for an hour, Dad. Good old days.
Yeah. And it goes both ways. I mean, when I was still saying Mom, it was the same thing. You're no good, rotten father.
Yeah, and I have
Which is ridiculous to talk to your adult children that way and expect them to gang up on your side.
I'll talk shit about Mom with you, but I have no interest in doing it with Dad.
No, and I try
Dad
not
was
to.
just as fucking bad.
Yeah.
Although you were a big fucking asshole back then too, but still.
Somehow you've gotten past that.
Yeah, you're better now. Dad like refuses to change, and he unless it's legally an obligation, I don't think he's gonna step up and take.
No,
one.
he's already trying to find any way out of it as it is.
He did.
How do you think that guy sleeps at night? You think this shit is stressing him out, or he's just like, whatever, Lori will eventually step in?
Dude, I think he's doing the same thing I am, except I can do it a little more easily.
What, just ignoring the entire situation?
Just fast.
That's okay for us to do. I mean, it's not great
Yeah.
that we're doing that.
I'm just not paying attention, and then I just wonder where it's going to be a year from now.
Yeah. Let's cut to a year from now.
I know.
Where the fuck is our sister going to be? Will we have rights to see her?
Will we want rights to see her?
Come on. We at least
Although
can pretend that first year while she's in the halfway house.
Although Aunt Lori did claim that he told his wife about it, and that her only
Wrong. Guarantees lying
yeah,
to
I know.
Lori.
I didn't believe it either. But he said so, and that the only worry his wife had about it was about money, and
That's all a lie.
she's constantly worried about money though. All they talk about is money and how much things cost and how ridiculous everything is, and what she complained about and got for free at a restaurant or a grocery store.
Hey, let's tell the story real quick about Dad's wife. Her kid just had her first kid, so Debbie's now a grandmother. You know where I'm going.
You know
with
what I
this.
should also say? I want to point this out real quick too. Gabe, who is a guest on the show,
Sure, episode 79.
before I even really knew him, I just kind of knew who he was. We went out to the restaurant where he used to work at with Dad and Debbie, and he was our waiter.
Oh, really?
And Debbie fucking hated him.
A lot of people
the
hate
whole
Gabe.
time. And I told Gabe that later. And she didn't know what she wanted. It was, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And then, oh my God, he will not stop coming, because he kept coming up. It was the day Michael Crichton died, and he overheard me and Dad talking about it. So he's talking to us about that. And
Dad was allowed to talk about secular books.
Yeah, and she was mortified that like Gabe just kept coming around so often and stuff like that. And they paid no tip whatsoever.
Good God.
I did the whole, I forgot something, went back, dropped $15 on the table.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know why she even bothers with restaurants. It's just going to make her mad. Grocery
Because
store,
that's
same
why.
thing.
That's why. And she complained to management about something. I can't remember what it was, but while we were there, she complained to management about something.
About her face.
And one of the best complaint stories Dad ever told me was that they were at an Olive Garden once, and pretty nice little Saturday, and Dad had spaghetti, and he was totally done, and the server came and took the plate, and she complained to management that the server took his plate while there was still meat sauce on the bottom of it. And what if he wanted to dip his breadsticks in there? And the manager apologized and said, oh, well, I'll bring you some fresh breadsticks and a fresh thing of meat sauce, a boat of meat sauce. No, thank you, because that's not what he wanted to do. But it was rude of that waitress to not ask and take the plate away. Now, I realize that some people can get whatever. You're fucking dumb. You're stupid to complain about that when that's not even what he wants. Now, I do like breadsticks and meat sauce, and I do that after I'm done with spaghetti at Olive Garden. And if the waiter came and took it away, I'd be a little bummed out. But if that wasn't even my intention, what right do you have to do it? And then stories of she got olive oil at a grocery store once and it tasted a little off, so she wrote a harsh letter to the company and got two big vats of olive oil for free, and Dad was showing me like they're fucking trophies. And
their garage is probably full of that shit.
And he talks about what a bitch his wife is, but like he totally... Whenever he tells any of these stories, it's like he's trying to make her sound like the hero.
Yeah, he takes her side on everything.
Much like the story about her grandkid being
right.
born.
Let's get to that. You're doing great. You keep going.
He sent me as he always does, as he did for my birthday actually, and I didn't call him. Is he sends me a text and asks and says, "Hey, if you're not doing anything, call me."
He always makes it sound urgent to me when he sends me that text.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, I need you to give me a call.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, hey, how's it going? How's your sister doing? I
it's
won't call her
like,
myself, but I want the scoop.
It's always like, when you're awake, give me a call. He thinks I sleep until like 5 in the afternoon or something.
Forgets that you have a kid.
But yeah, and it was that his stepdaughter, his wife's daughter, had a baby. That they had the baby.
Heard it was 5 days overdue or something.
Yeah, something like that. Now, last time we went to the house, they had like a little nursery pretty much set up for this kid. It was like / for that kid / for Sophie.
How much money do you think Dad's going to pour into that kid?
Who knows? While
his mentally retarded daughter gets nothing.
Who knows in reality, because he was talking about it. But now I remember that even though that nursery was there was something going on last time where Debbie wasn't talking to her daughter. She was not on speaking terms with, I don't think, either of her
This
kids.
news is shocking to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all the time. And so I go, oh, the baby's born. Are things better between Debbie and her daughter? No, worse than ever. And he tells me about an attack that his wife had that night, and had to take a bunch of Xanax and drink a bunch of wine. And right during the premiere episode of Lost was all this going on. He was very bummed out for that. He mostly during the recap, so thank God.
Oh, okay.
But
God.
he did miss out on some of the premiere of Lost. And
of course they don't have a DVR because it's money.
And I was like, oh, what's wrong? What's the big hassle? Oh, her daughter. I don't want to say the daughter's name, but
let's call her Seagal.
Her and her husband are just attention whores. So I'm like, okay, here.
Before you've even heard the story, Debbie is right.
Perfect example of Dad telling a story of her acting ridiculous, but she's right. And it was now for very good, and I know this from when I had a kid. Everyone comes to the hospital to visit. Everyone who's in town comes to the hospital to visit. They all run into each other. It all overlaps. Visiting
you guys all take turns holding the placenta.
Exactly, and so that was going on with Debbie's daughter. Now Debbie, for very good reason and very separate reasons, does not get along with anyone in her family: nephews, nieces, brothers, in-laws, anything like that. So she calls
her brother that had committed suicide recently.
Yeah.
Hadn't talked to in 10 years.
Yeah.
She just holds grudges over, I assume, nothing.
Yeah.
We've seen what upsets her.
It has to be nothings. A bunch of nothings. So she calls her daughter and says, "Hey, I'd like to come from 7 to 9. can you please ask everybody to leave
Ridiculous.
and find something else to do so it can be just me and you and Scott.
Our dad.
Yeah.
I called him Greg earlier. It might have got confusing.
All together, just us for 2 hours. And she says, no, I'm not going to do that. That's rude. I'm not going to tell everyone to leave who came out here to see the baby. Huge fucking fight. And Dad's totally on her side about it.
So she still hasn't probably even seen the baby.
No, who knows at this point?
Her grudges, I wouldn't doubt, prevent her from seeing her first grandchild.
Yeah, and it's what a way to live. And it's you know, that famous quote from The Deep End of the Ocean.
No such thing. I hope Treat Williams said it, and I hope you do it in a Treat Williams voice.
Yeah, he goes, it's like you make a career out of being unhappy. But it's true, man. Like,
it's all she knows. It's all she has.
you see people out and about who, like, couldn't be more painfully nice when nothing happening is their fault, but I'm sorry. If someone runs into them with their car, I'm sorry. That
I'm constantly apologizing for things that aren't my fault.
And I'm kind of like that too. And how can someone be such the other polar into that, to where you're just fucking miserable
on a mission to be miserable, like looking for misery
the time. And
it's kind of amazing to look at up close.
You can see it on her fucking miserable face too. Like, it just makes you ugh.
Yeah, the 2 times a year that we end up having to see her. I almost wish you hadn't had a daughter just so we wouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah, and you know, that last time we were there, and like, it's Sophie's birthday, and then all that stuff about the pizza being late, and she called the wrong pizza place and stuff like that. It's like, can you just stop? Just calm. Like. You know, Dad was a miserable fucking tyrant when we were growing up. But when we'd get into the church parking lot and someone would come up, he'd turn it off. Hey, how's it going, big spender? And everything like that.
Hey, trouble.
Like this lady cannot fucking turn it off.
No, I know.
She just has to be 100% her all the time. And
I don't understand why not only does Dad defend it each and every time, but I guess that's it. I can't wrap my head around
maybe
that.
It gives him a boner. But and she knows she's miserably unhappy. So why does she think that her thing about the hospital should be cleared for me and stuff like that? Like, no, you're miserably unhappy. That means that you're crazy, that something you're doing is wrong.
I just can't see him putting up with that for 12 years and still thinking she's right.
Yeah, and that's the
there's
thing.
Some weird balance, though, because he understands that she's miserable. And like we said, for the first few years when we let him fresh into his marriage, all he wanted to do is talk about how miserable she is, and in turn, how miserable that's making him. But now it seems like he's almost just like, let her take over. But
even back then, there was he still agreed with her on a lot of it. So it's like, where do you draw the line, Dad? Like, what makes some things so ridiculous and other things not so ridiculous?
And what is he thinking when he tells us stories like the hospital thing? Does he want us to have sympathy for her? He's not telling us because he thinks she's in the wrong. Like, how can he not see how ridiculous it is, so much so that he tells the story and expects you to understand?
That's a good point.
Those attention whores, man.
Because and he tells you every detail of how crazy she's being, almost as though he's just trying to say, look at my crazy wife. But right from the beginning, I'm like, oh, yeah, they're attention whores. Like, he's letting you know whose side he's on. I can't believe he's wasting his years, his quite probably final years. He's already outlasted any other allers.
That's true. That's true.
What is he doing? 12 years? Like, I understand that there are certain people who are just...
The sex must be amazing.
Oh, gross. who must,
I love doing that to you.
Who like are just addicted to marriage and they don't want to have the 3 divorces or whatever like that.
Right.
But
and we've explained that's a lot of where Dad's coming from. But there'd be no other reason.
He married 3 awful people. Like, I don't understand. I feel like I've got it together enough myself that I don't understand how anyone else, whether it be an uncle of ours or our dad or anyone who's like obsessed with being married and almost obsessed with being miserable, because you're miserable and you complain about it all the time, but you do nothing, be it marriage or having to live with your mom or never getting more than a part-time minimum wage job. But like, dude, in a month you can change all of that. You know what I mean? You can change everything. Like our uncle who works minimum wage and complains about it. I'm like, you got to stop working minimum wage. Well, I don't have an education. Well, I didn't even have a high school diploma. And I'm not saying, hey, everyone go out and wait tables or be a bartender, but I make significantly above minimum wage.
Right.
And
you don't live with your mom.
Yeah, and I don't have to work a lot. And it's like I say, it's not a glamorous fucking job. Being a bartender is kind of all right, but
If we're talking about the same person here, though,
it's pretty much what I have to do to support the lifestyle that I like. You know what I mean?
Right.
To be able to buy things I want, to be able to buy my kid things, stuff like that. I'm not just sitting around going, oh, I have no education. I have to work at McDonald's. Like, I'm trying a little. And if I was as miserable in my marriage as dad, I would get out of it. Like dad and mom's marriage went on for way too long. And I'm a little surprised that his marriage right now has gone on so long. I know that he'll never quit it.
No, I know.
Like
and she knows that too, I'm sure.
And he would never quit the mom one. And eventually mom, got although it's not really balls when you find someone else, but,
It kind of takes more balls. Be like, here's my new black husband. Come on.
I don't think so. I think it takes less balls. Like if some woman met dad and was really nice to him, like maybe he'd fall in love and leave his wife,
I don't think so. I think dad's stationed no matter what the marriage, no matter what the misery.
He would never do it otherwise. He would never do it without there being another woman. But maybe if there's another woman who is heavily pursuing him, we should hire a hooker and see.
It'll never end with that guy.
Remember
he will die being married to that miserable, miserable cunt.
And he was so...
That's right, I went there.
He was so desperate to be married, and that lady from the internet in Wisconsin steals all of his money, and he goes, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to go into a local chat room.
This lady's from Tukwila. She's not getting into my account.
Yeah.
It's totally hilarious.
And God, and he gets married so soon. We're already not invited to the wedding. Then I'm an asshole for not inviting him to my wedding. Did we ever clear that up? Because we talked about on one episode where he, quote unquote, wasn't invited to my wedding. I said, in fact, he was. I just didn't want him to bring his wife. And I didn't realize until after we recorded.
That's automatically an uninvite, though. There's no way she would have let him go without her. Although that was another thing that he kept from her.
But he was still...
He never told her that she wasn't invited.
He was still invited, though. Whether or not it was unlikely that he was going to come, he was still invited. And we were not invited to his wedding.
No.
When he was going to get married 5 minutes after he met her, it was corn. Oh, I'd love for my sons to be there and... blah, 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 and then, like, just one more conversation with her, and, yeah, it's going to be just us, guys, and...
Was it just them? Was it a courthouse thing? I'll bet her kids were fucking there, weren't they?
They went to some place. It was, like, some cottage with a justice of the peace and stuff like that.
I'll bet the spread was amazing.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hold resentment 12 years later for not being invited to that wedding.
And I bet she had fucking complaints about that room and stuff. I remember they went to Vegas, and he was talking about how they had to change rooms, like, 3 times.
Oh, my God.
Because she was so miserable.
So she, even at their honeymoon, she wasn't faking anything. She's like, "This is me."
Well,
and he'd already accepted it.
I'm not
way back then.
He didn't go to Vegas on his honeymoon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just very nice castle, Sophie.
Ta-da! We should Tupperware castle.
Yeah.
Of all the fucking expensive loud toys she has, she runs straight for the Tupperware.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
Do you want to sing a song?
Yeah.
What song?
Easy Brother.
Okay, sing Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Easy Brother, about the rainbow. Watch out. I guess it. The rain, easy Brother, again.
Not bad.
Good job.
Good job, buddy.
You need to learn to enunciate.
Brotherhood.